But I'll give him a slight edge.
All right, well, let's see who is going to move on to the finals and face Box. Ali, back to you.
You know, it's interesting, Maria, while Northern Lion was putting his money on Cobalt Streak, lolRenaynay, who's standing up there ready to get it on, she was nodding her head almost as though like, oh yeah, he's probably going to win. You know, Renaynay, upsets do happen, my dear.
That's his boy. That's his boy.
We know you don't buy that knowledge. All right.
You represent right now. Gotta hold it down.
So Cobalt Streak up against lolRenaynay in our second semifinal matchup. Before we get into the randomizing of the sequence of games and pulling the crank, why don't we check in with Cobalt Streak?
Wait, we're not pulling the crank yet.
I really think that the only thing the experience is going to do is just help with the nerves, because you're going to be up on stage, you're going to have a lot of pressure. People that have done panels or are more used to public speaking or stuff like that, they're just going to have a more calm demeanor. They're going to be able to focus more. So I really think that extra focus will help. If you're a little bit more casual or new to this, then you're probably going to be really nervous and you're more prone to make mistakes.
Well, certainly that's part of the meta of being in a tournament like this, no doubt, right, John?
Absolutely. When you're in your controlled environment doing your own cast, it's completely different than being out here. Even in front of 50 people, when you're used to casting in front of 1,000, can be a total game changer if you're not ready for it.
No doubt about it. We know she's ready for it, though. Let's check in with lolRenaynay.
Nah.
With Twitch, it's immediate. If I'm doing something and people like it, I can see that immediate response. If I do something that people don't like, I can see that immediate response too. And I feel like it built a better sense of community because people can actually have conversations with me. It's not just arbitrarily typing a comment and whatever. It's people wanting to come in and saying, hi, how are you doing? And telling me about their day, and I tell them about mine. It's just become such a little family, I guess. That sounds so cliche to say, but I mean, I have people who've been in there for 4 years, who've been coming in every single day for 4 years, telling me what they're doing, how their day is. They're my friends. They're people that they're as real as my friends that I see every day in real life.
Well, family aside, there is an adversarial element to facing somebody.
Absolutely.
With $15,000 on the line. Effectively, that's what you're guaranteed if you move on to the finals. Renaynay, you ready for this?
I guess.
I love how dry her sense of humor is. It's a best-of-5 matchup in the semis. Cobalt, you know what to do. Go ahead and pull on that crank, and let's find out what order you guys are going to be playing in.
All right, what order?
It's going to be 5 BTD battles, Renaynay.
And just like that, balloons right off the bat.
It's all right.
I didn't even know that was going to happen, I promise.
Yeah, sure you did.
BTD battles right off the top, followed by Pac-Man 256, Fruit Ninja 8-Ball, and last but by no means least, Disney Crossy Road.
And
Renaynay's going to chill out on this one. She claims that she's got no shot when it comes to playing BTD. Now, the good news was, in her last matchup, she didn't have to play BTD. She managed to win the first 2 matches, first 2 games, and we weren't forced to see what's going on with her BTD game. Now she's got to make that one of her 5.
Indeed. And while we haven't seen her do that, Cobalt, on the other hand, Balloons is definitely one of his strongest, if not his strongest game on this entire roster. So this is a good opportunity for Cobalt to clinch the first round.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, Renaynay has had an opportunity to watch him play the game on multiple occasions so far in the tournament, so she could be putting some of that knowledge to use potentially to help level things. Well, she's looking at us like, yeah, right.
It even goes a little bit more than that. I mean, Cobalt Streak and Renaynay, these are 2 people who have been friends in this industry for a long time. So these 2 know a lot about each other, about the games they play, about their strategies, their styles. So this is going to be a really interesting match.
All right, without further ado, tangent, let's get down to the podium, the arena where battle will be conducted. Ref, are we all set and ready to go? And our first game, BTD Battles, both players are working through their choices, their loadouts to start the match. And they're ready, and we're off in the first game of this best-of-5 second semifinal matchup between Cobalt Streak and lolRenaynay, both players starting with 150 in health. And right away, we see a few moves being played. How do you feel about it, Ken?
Cobalt so far has been staying consistent with his strategy since the beginning. It's kind of funny with the interview that he was having before. He was mentioning how being on stage is a totally different element. When we were backstage before, Cobalt said that, you know, my community has seen me stream this game before in the past for a long time rather, and he really doesn't want to put up a poor showing with that. So in this
a lot of expectation.
And in the first game that Cobalt was in, he had a little bit of misplacement, but you can see that he's learned from that. He's doing much better. His wizards get much better placement. And
obviously making adjustments, learning from your mistakes, it's not just something that we talk about in life, but in gaming in particular, it's incredibly important because you now have the knowledge base in order to optimize your play, which is what you're looking to do at any given time.
And in particular in a game like this, if you know what you're doing, there are so many initial blitzing strategies that you can do. So against a particularly new player, you can really take advantage of that. If you were to do a Google search, though, for example, and just look up like strategies, you might find some of these at the top that might be easy to counter. It's sort of like in chess, for example, you can get checkmate in 4 moves, but if you know how to move one piece, you can stop the entire thing. And your opponent, if they started on that, they're now set up for failure.
And as we can see,
Renaynay dropping a sniper.
The early attacks look to be by Renaynay on Cobalt.
And Cobalt now begins getting some early farm with those bananas.
Yep. Mining, making that money. Just picked up a cool 180. In the minute that stuff posted, you see him bring up his options, see
and so far,
how he wants to spend the cash.
And so far, I believe Cobalt has mainly just been upgrading that wizard and that ninja, and
so just reinvesting.
Just reinvesting. So obviously, the financial component of this game is incredibly important. At first, you're going to want to, of course, build up your defenses, but as you get around closer to that sweet spot, Miss Vixen was talking earlier about turn 9 being the place where things really begin to pick up and you can start to see a lot of victories begin to happen.
And we're right up close to turn 9 here.
This is the calm before the storm right now. So now we're going to start seeing some more balloons coming out. We're going to see some more economic stabilization going on both sides, but very soon we're going to start seeing, and I'm wondering if it's going to happen with Cobalt because he had far less units and far less upgrades than Renaynay, so he's got a lot of cash to sit on. I wonder if he's going to go for the blitz.
Well, so far the blitz looks to be conducted by Naynay, and it's Cobalt who's fending it off on the left side of the screen. But as we know, the tide can turn so incredibly quickly in this game. If you can weather the storm levied by your opponent, the cash that you pick up as a result, getting rid of all those balloons, you can drop the real hammer. And everybody's been looking for that death blow, that one blitzkrieg that's going to get rid of all 150 of health in one fell swoop. A couple of times we've seen people fall short, and it's come back to haunt them.
Oh, and look like there's a little bit of interference there for a moment.
You're back?
Am I alive?
Yeah, you're live.
And as we were saying before, Cobalt right now, some of the balloons are getting a little bit past his defenses. It doesn't look like he's really taken any damage yet so far.
Not yet.
But in the first round, a good number of balloons did sneak by because of the misplacement of the units that he put down. But he still came back with a knockout punch in the end.
Hang on, speaking
and
of knockout
just like
punches,
that, wait a second,
in
here it
trouble
comes. Cobalt
was lolRenaynay.
comes in and with the victory.
The death blow.
Just like that.
How quickly things can change, and Naynay kind of looks over at us like, well, yeah.
And Cobalt with a sigh of
I gave it a
relief.
good college try.
Well, Cobalt definitely in his comfort zone when it comes to BTD battles, and Naynay, by all accounts, was saying that this is going to be my handicap here. I'm going to give up this first one, but she's got to win 3 out of the next 4. Not impossible, but certainly tough against an opponent who's got the wealth of experience that he does.
I mean, that went just about as predicted as it could have gone. So Cobalt obviously picking up round 1. Renaynay now is going to have to be playing a lot of pickup to be able to get back into this. But Renaynay does have solid showings with the other games on this list. But so does Cobalt. They wouldn't be here, obviously, in the semifinals match if they weren't.
Very good point. As we prepare to move on to game 2, we got a little replay there of the final moments of that first BTD Battles match. And we have got things set up for what looks like Disney Crossy Road, if I'm not mistaken. Sure enough.
Disney Crossy Road was actually the big psych-out point for much of the competitors. Probably the most practiced game next to Pac-Man throughout the entire week.
Oh, interesting. A little insight from inside the green room from Tangent. Both players all set?
No,
No, not yet.
never ready.
Getting her tablet exactly where she wants it. Positioning is obviously important.
Okay, now I'm ready.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right, Naynay, all set and ready to go. Cobalt, all set and ready to go. You guys have 3 lives and no time. Oh, this is Pac-Man. I'm sorry, there is a time limit. I thought we were playing Crossy Road. Pac-Man
right.
256 is the game. 3 minutes on the clock. Both players ready? Let's count them in, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pac-Man!
All right, and we are off to the races. And Cobalt Streak, I have seen him play Pac-Man, and he puts up some pretty surprisingly impressive numbers.
And the look of the draw can have something to do with things, though. And I'm noticing right off the top that despite the fact that lolRenaynay did not get a nice RNG off the top for a multiplier,
What are you guys doing?
she stuck with it.
Indeed.
Now, we've seen other players just go ahead and take the suicide and go forward and hope for better.
Absolutely, but when you do that, you run the risk of not improving your RNG. And if you do fail to do that, depending on whether or not you get the high score screen at the end, you might be cutting off 5, 10, 15 seconds off of what could be crucial for you to get back in the game. And as we saw in a previous round, with nearly 7,000 points to go, we saw a massive comeback.
Right.
With less than 1 minute to go. Cobalt now here on the left with 1,020 points.
Oh, look at this. He's taking down plenty of ghosts and another multiplier.
An incredibly impressive show for Cobalt. They're taking out all of those ghosts. And just as I was saying before, Cobalt has been practicing this game. This is one that he's probably the most prepared for outside of balloons. Cobalt now taking his first
1549
a gentleman's
by Cobalt.
1549.
A gentleman's 1549. I like that. Nothing that's insurmountable as we look at Naynay posting her number. She's got the 3x multiplier. She could beat that real quick here.
Yep.
She's got to dodge a couple of bullets.
Just a few precious more points, and she's going to assume the lead. And it does look like she will go ahead and take that Cobalt now.
Not quite yet. She's got to get a multiplier, some more juice here. And 1549 is the number to beat.
Oh, 1549, I apologize.
And she's done it. Naynay now with the lead, but that clutch melon, as we heard Northern Lion describe it, the 6x multiplier in
and just
Cobalt's
like
belly.
that, look at Cobalt Streak now thundering up behind her. He is in hot pursuit right now, 1,400 points. The gap is closing. Renee with 1,800 now, continuing it. And Cobalt detonates the bomb, 1,700 to 1,800. Is getting closer and closer. Laser back and forth. Cobalt
look at
continuing.
this!
And just like that, neck and neck. And caught between.
Closed in on it, 1866, and now Cobalt with the lead that he is extending, sitting on a 3x multiplier.
It doesn't get closer than that, but this is such an important, crucial turning point for Cobalt. I thought that he might be risking being out of there right now, but we can clearly see that with that much time left on the clock, it's going to be not
15
impossible
seconds
for
right
Renee
now.
to get back into that.
It is next to impossible, as you mentioned, for lolRenaynay to crawl out of this hole. Just about down to 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and hands off your tablets, players. 2467, that is the number for Cobalt Streak, and he will go ahead and win this second game as well. Solid performance. It looked for a second like Renaynay's figure was going to be the one to beat, and he just shot right up, nipping on her heels.
And Maria had a great comment earlier, or question rather, asking over in the other lounge about what's it like to see Pac-Man live, like what's it like getting excited over Pac-Man, and you can just see like that kind of that organic reaction, just a crowd that's watching a bit quiet at first, and then you see that it gets closer, it gets more competitive, and suddenly there's electricity in the air for competition.
Yeah. And let's take a quick look back at one of those moments from that last game.
And just like
Cobalt
that,
on the left,
and look
neck
at how
and neck.
close the score was right there.
And that's where things ended for Naynay, and she kind of knew at that point she didn't have enough
And
time.
Cobalt again with a second sigh of relief after clinching the victory.
Where are we going? All right. We'll be back for game 3 in just a moment. Stay close. More Amazon Champions of Fire Invitational after this.
Modeled after the famous Hotel de Ville, Paris, Las Vegas's hotel tower soars 34 stories and offers 2,916 guest rooms, including 295 suites. The elegantly appointed rooms feature custom-designed furnishings, crown molding, and rich French fabrics. In each room, a stately armoire serves as the closet, enhancing the European ambiance. It's Parisian elegance with a contemporary flair.
Welcome back to the Amazon Fire Champions of Fire Invitational from the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas. Our second semifinal match is underway. A 2-zip deficit for lolRenaynay we witnessed at the hands of Cobalt Streak in BTD Battles and Pac-Man 256. Ali Najat alongside John Corby, better known as Tangent Gaming. Maria Ho over in the other lounge, and we are ready to get Game 3 underway. First, let's take a look at the rules for Fruit Ninja. Just give you a quick refresher. This tends to be a crowd favorite. Game is in 60-second rounds, high speed, fast and furious, high scoring action. Multiplayer mode is what we're doing. Medium speed is the setting. Players have got 30 seconds to change their boosters between rounds, and then it's right back to the thick of things. First player to win 2 rounds takes it down. It's our only best of 3 game within the best of 5 match, and both players look to be choosing their boosters and getting their loadouts ready as we speak. Ref, are we all set and ready to go? All right.
Okay.
Ref has given us the okay. Go ahead and get underway. We'll count you guys in. And in 3, 2, 1, Fruit!
All right, and this match is underway. Fruit Ninja, this particular edition of the game was actually the tournament edition was a big surprise to a lot of the competitors because we did not get our hands on it until right before basically the competition was supposed to start.
Right.
So this is the one that everybody has the least experience technically because we simply did not have access to it until we were here.
And that obviously is kind of a cool element right there as we see a big move being made.
And Renee now with a impressive early lead, 373 to sub 100 for Cobalt, now getting over 100 points.
And farmer's nightmare.
And as we're seeing right now, we just like almost every match, Dispel and Whirlwind has played an integral role in most of the winning strategies that we have been seeing. And it is no different here tonight. Renee putting those power-ups to great use.
Shield's been put into play quite a bit as well. 496 to 178 with 15 seconds left. Naynay looking dominant.
642 to sub 200 now, and just like that, all the shields all over the red.
It's going to be impossible to come back at such a big deficit with so little time. 2 seconds left. And round 1 of this game goes to lolRenaynay impressively. Well done.
And this, Renee absolutely needed this. She absolutely needed this. Her back is against the wall. She is facing elimination right now. She has to win out.
That's true. She does. There's no margin for error.
She cannot yield any ground at all. She has to win out or win, well, the semifinals.
Yeah, exactly. Let's check in with Maria over on the other side of the stage. Maria.
Well, so far it looks like all hail to Fruit Ninja Queen lolRenaynay over there. Brian, you battled her in this game in the last round, and you also lost. So can you kind of talk to us about how I feel like I've been hard on you? I'm so sorry. But you were eliminated. But can you just kind of tell us, you know, what do you think about the way that lolRenaynay has been playing Fruit Ninja in particular that's making her such a tough person to beat?
I mean, I don't think she's dropped a game in Fruit Ninja yet, and you know, just the combinations of boosts that she's been using and just her execution has really been really impressive.
All right, well, let's get over to game 2 of Fruit Ninja, and let's see if she could pull this one out.
Okay. All right. I thought we were done with that now.
It's a best of 3, Cobalt. You can still pull this one out. And the game starts in 3, 2, 1, Fruit!
All right, now, so Renee on the board now. She has an opportunity to clinch round 3. This is the game that we did see her playing a little bit more of this, and it's showing that extra practice time is coming in handy.
Oh, big, huge
boost there for lolRenaynay. 260 to not even 30 on Cobalt's side.
Oh, big, massive chunk of change
and
going
just
Cobalt's
like
way.
that,
he's got the lead.
Just like that, getting right back into it. Cobalt, they're just slightly behind, trying to get back into the driver's seat of this match. Renee trying to do everything that she can to stay ahead. I'm wondering if she's going to be able to do it. It looks like Renee has kept the same power-ups. I don't know about Cobalt, though.
Well, those power-ups weren't broken before, so why fix them? As she has launched herself up and over 600 with 20 seconds left.
Excellent use of the shield there. and Renee is just beginning to get that momentum
look at this.
going, snowballing, but
Both players
and
with a
Cobalt.
huge boost there.
Every single time Cobalt seems to throw a punch, he throws one just as hard back. And again, Cobalt again with those impressive games.
Oh, it's narrowing.
And just
It's
like
tight.
that, we have a match on our hands now. 1,000 with the clinching victory at the very last
Incredible.
second. And just like that, this crowd is showing their appreciation for the competition between these two friends.
I'll tell you what, some games lend themselves more to that level of excitement than others. In Fruit Ninja, right when the clock reads 0 and you think it's a
I didn't know what
wrap,
happened.
back comes Cobalt Streak.
And that's why it's good to show, or it's good to say that you should never take your hands off the tablet.
Absolutely.
We have seen people in this competition just throw their hands up when they think they're about to lose. Cobalt went for that last strike, and it was all he needed to tie it up.
And here's a look at those last moments there. You hear everybody get amped up. And suddenly,
And Renee could not even believe it looked like.
Cobalt with the victory. Here it goes. This was it. 1 second on the clock, and all of a sudden, he shoots up and over.
And it's just such a great thing to be able to see this. These are two incredibly, incredibly respected casters on the Twitch network. They're good friends. And seeing this level of competition between them in front of such an energetic audience is the reason why we do this.
All right, let's not slow it down. Cobalt, you have an opportunity to sweep and take this match and secure a place in the finals. If you can get this game of Fruit Ninja under your belt, Naynay's back is up against the wall. Players ready?
Nope.
Take your time.
At least she's honest.
Take your time.
It'll be interesting to see now if any of them change up any of their power-ups.
Right. Obviously, Cobalt made some sort of adjustment there that allowed him late to employ those power-ups and get himself right back in. Now Naynay might be thinking she's going to do something different here.
And across all the builds that we've been seeing so far, Whirlwind as well as Dispel has been completely crucial, completely important for the winning strategies.
No. Fuck it. Oops, sorry.
Well, it's interesting, in a situation where you're being results-oriented and you're thinking maybe because I didn't win that round, I shouldn't change things up. That might be the mistake. That's getting you in.
It could be, but at the same time, too, RNG does play a little part of it. It could just be that Cobalt also got lucky in just that many fruit grubs at the
All
right
right,
time.
here we go in 3, 2, 1, fruit!
1 minute on the clock. Again, as we've been saying before, Renee is facing elimination. Cobalt trying to hammer the final nail in the coffin and clinch this series.
And unlike in the earlier rounds, we're seeing small points off the top.
But this is how the last round began as well. Renee with a very early lead, Cobalt with very few points to begin, and then it got violent around the 30-second mark. And just like that,
fruit.
Renee above 100 points and Cobalt just under right now. But, and Cobalt takes the lead, actually.
Major, massive points being compiled now by Cobalt. And this is going to be worrisome for lolRenaynay. She's got to come back and she's got to do it in a hurry.
And you could just
15 seconds left.
You could just tell the look on Cobalt's face. He knew that he just did some damage. He just struck a lethal blow to this competition right here.
Sure did. 10 seconds left. It's going to take something special.
2.
Can she do it? 1 second left. And Cobalt streak.
Nope. She won. They think you're
Nope.
for some reason.
Naynay took it down. Forgive us.
Oh, was it?
We're getting our signals crossed. It was scary for a minute there.
I'm like, who's rooting for me? I'm losing.
lolRenaynay with the victory. We were scared for a second there. That means you are still alive as we go to game 4.
What is this now?
Gosh, we're all flustered from all this Fruit Ninja that's been going on.
I thought that we were done.
A 2-1
Okay.
lead
Like, just feel
for
free.
Cobalt Streak. And like you said, Renaynay's
okay.
back has been up against the wall. And that's sometimes where people shine.
Absolutely. I can't think of a single person that doesn't like an underdog story. I cannot think of a single person that likes seeing it come down to the final round.
That doesn't like seeing it come down to the final round.
And especially, as we were saying before, these two people, so much history, not only together, but on as content creators. This is exactly the kind of organic bracket that you want to see. These two coming together.
Always fun when you're able to see people who have such a big influence in the community face off against one another. It's like a clash of the titans of sorts.
Oh, man.
As we get them set up for our fourth game, which, are we playing Disney Crossy Road? Is that what we're doing? Not yet. We're playing 8-ball. And you see Naynay shaking her hands out.
And again, as we were saying before, this is one of the games that got very, very little practice across most of the competitors. I was going to call them combatants, not entirely inaccurate for what we're doing here.
No, not at all.
And
all right.
I kind of think that these two have practiced it. Maybe
just a little bit?
Maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit.
To clear up any confusion from that last Fruit Ninja round, we thought that it was Cobalt that took down the third in the best out of 3 of Fruit Ninja. In fact, it was lolRenaynay, and we're going to take a replay and look back. We had our signals. Yeah, lolRenaynay won the Fruit Ninja round.
I apologize for what I said. I was looking at this monitor here, and I didn't realize I was looking at a replay. So.
And there it was. A final of 900 and change to 600 and change, and Renaynay breathing a sigh of relief when she realized she was able to fend off Cobalt Streak's late assault. And now he is up 2-1, and she has to win not just 8-ball, but Disney Crossy Road. First things first, though, 8-ball.
And Cobalt has a little bit of wiggle room. He can relax, but he probably shouldn't. Like, this is one of those situations where he can take his time. He has a little bit of wiggle room, but he doesn't want to grow complacent. Very different.
Right, let's take a look at the rules for 8-ball pool. Pretty much garden variety. It's friends mode, 3 basic cues and legendary cues. We've heard you talk a little bit, John, about the fact that it doesn't really matter too much. Winners determined by 8-ball rules. So this, what do you think is the most fundamental element to becoming a champion in 8-ball pool?
For this particular game,
Sure.
Accuracy and consistency in your shots.
Physical dexterity, though, your finger is, it's a twitchy interface.
Being able to control your muscle movements enough to do, really, really small micro movements is very important. Because as I was saying before, it's very, very easy to overshoot, and if you do that, you might not have enough time to adjust the course. You might spend 10 of your, I don't know if it's like 15-ish seconds to your shot, but you might spend 10 of that just lining it up, and then if you nick it off a little bit, you might not be able to get it back at all.
Easier said than done, keeping your fingers steady, especially when $15,000 guaranteed dollars by making it to the finals loom and hang in the balance. You saw Renaynay trying to shake it out after Fruit Ninja, which is a very frenetic pace game. You get your heart rate elevated. I mean, these little things actually play a part in the outcomes in later games that are played.
And Cobalt earlier, referencing this again, was talking about that on-stage dynamic, and there's more and more people here in the arena with each passing hour as we're doing this, and you have to wonder, is Renaynay going to get into his head a little bit? Does Cobalt feel in control of the situation?
And it looks like the match is underway.
Beautiful break, and actually, with the exception of range, and you can just see right there how much bigger the targeting line is with that. I believe that is the Galaxy Q. Now, other than that, I did say that I didn't think the Qs mattered all that much. I would like to say one more thing. I'm going to backpedal on that. I think at the very beginning of the match, power is very important because one of the stats that varies greatly between the Qs is the power. So if you can get a good solid break, you saw that the balls are all over the table after that one break. It was like a scatter gun, basically.
You got to cover a lot of felt in order to make contact.
So the basic Q cannot do that. So if you want to target accuracy, you might not be able to sink at the first few balls when going for the break.
You see Naynay working things around. There is a pretty tight shot clock on each of these players.
Very tight shot clock. A beautiful, beautiful shot by Renaynay there.
Solid
Good distance
work.
being covered. And the thing that I really like about the targeting lines in this, that it makes it simple, but it doesn't make it easy to do everything. Once you start getting into needing to ricochet the balls off of different angles, off of you know, trying to shoot around other balls so you don't disrupt them, it can get really difficult. And a beautiful shot there by Renaynay, and that puts her up 4 to it looks like 0, I think, for Cobalt.
Yeah, I don't think he's got anything down yet.
No,
and
no,
she,
and
she
another
continues
one.
to run the table.
And for those of you who are not aware about the rules of pool, if you do make your shot, you do continue to shoot until you miss. So if you are proficient enough at the game,
and no sooner do you say that, Tangent, than Renaynay fails to make contact with one of her balls, and as such, it's going to be deemed a foul, so Cobalt should have ball in hand here.
No, it was my shot. It's oh.
and I'm really interested in seeing this
shot.
because, as I said before, I suspect Cobalt may have been practicing this game, but just based on some of the conversations we've had, but I haven't seen him actually in person do it. So I don't know, I'm not entirely certain this is his first time doing it. That was a really powerful shot that he did, slamming the ball into the corner pocket.
And we've talked a little bit about this game already, and one of the most important elements is not just thinking about the shot at hand, but the shot following, where you leave the cue ball to set yourself up nicely afterward.
And just like that, Cobalt got a point, but also assisted Renaynay there just a little bit, it looks like.
Well, now looks like he's looking to put the... Oh, no, a little bit too much mustard on that one. He almost made it back into the opposite corner.
Carefully considering their shot.
Stop. My hands are so sweaty. Knees weak, arms spaghetti. God bless it.
And good looking shot there.
And after much deliberation, Renaynay sinks the corner pocket shot, and you can tell by the look on her face she is happy with that result.
Yep. Sweaty palms getting in her way a little bit, and you can't blame anybody at this stage of the tournament for having some nerves potentially, some physiological reactions.
And something to keep in mind as well.
Woo!
Oh, my goodness gracious. All of these competitors have been here on stage all day since the very beginning. They have not had much time to go to the back. It has been back-to-back competitions the entire day through. So from an endurance standpoint, being able to participate, it's going to be important to see like who has the staying power to keep their cool under pressure.
No doubt.
And Renaynay looking to seal the victory there, and she does so. And just like that, Renaynay closes the gap.
Yep, 2-2.
And just as we were saying before, we would love to have seen these two go to a final round, and it looks like we are going to get just that.
All right, before we get to the 5th game, as we reset things, let's check in with Maria over in her lounge.
Well, it looks like lolRenaynay is pushing this to the 5th game. They're all tied up, but I just want to take it back to the game previous. We were playing Fruit Ninja Tournament Edition, and it is the debut of this game here on this stage in Champions of Fire, and I heard a lot of you guys say that these people are putting up a real good show for the debut of the Tournament Edition. Professor Broman, I heard you say hype, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, none of us had really encountered the tournament edition until today, and so when they released it, we were all like, "Oh my gosh, there's like all this depth, and you can like pick and counter pick stuff." It's a really well designed and like hype driving game, as we all just saw with the last matches.
Well, there's a lot of excitement here in the air with the live studio audience. Back to you, Ali.
Now, thank you, Maria, as we get ready for the 5th game, Disney Crossy Road. This one, it's addictive. Last night I stayed up till 3 in the morning playing it, and Pac-Man 256. Those were the two I spent a bunch of time playing. I could not break 100.
It's a difficult game, and for me, I had thought that I was doing well with getting, and I did not do well at all in this competition, but my average was closer up to 200, and that's not even enough to be even remotely competitive for right here. Crossy Roads was the game that got into most people's heads, and the reason for that, as we saw earlier, Box, Sky Williams, two people completely dominant at this game, coming at a crossroads together, having to unfortunately eliminate Sky Williams in that exchange, but Crossy Roads is the one that got into everyone's heads.
Yep, and I'll tell you what, with all of that anticipation built, why don't we send it away to a break, and we'll be back with more Amazon Champions of Fire, the 5th game in the 2nd semifinal after this.
Inside Paris, Las Vegas, you'll find author, cook, and DJ Steve Martirano's famous eatery. The restaurant features Italian-American signature dishes and one-of-a-kind entertainment offerings with movies and music, making it a truly unique dining experience. There's expansive seating areas, including patio seating and an elaborate central bar. Come enjoy a celebrity hotspot where Italian classics are kicked up a notch.
Welcome back to the Amazon Champions of Fire Invitational from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, inside the Paris Las Vegas Hotel. Got to correct that. We are now in Game 5 of a best of 5 matchup in the 2nd semifinal between lolRenaynay and Cobalt Streak, two players who, as you've mentioned, are no strangers to one another. It was an early lead for Cobalt of 2-zip, and then all of a sudden lolRenaynay came back. There were some dicey moments in the best of 3 Fruit Ninja battle, and she has now come back after a victory there and an 8-ball, and we are ready to play Disney Crossy Road. I anticipate both players have picked the Aladdin map.
Aladdin Road, as we've been calling it.
Aladdin Road, that's exactly right. Disney Aladdin Road.
Silk Road, even.
3, there is no time limit. As we know, you have 3 lives to post the highest score that you can. Ref, are both players ready? Let's get crossing.
Excellent. All right. And we are off and
running.
And running. And again, coming down to one final match, it does not get any better than this. And we are off to a good start here. Renee with some very aggressive, early, steady pace interval between the roads there, coming up at 60 points. Cobalt playing a little bit conservatively, trailing behind her, but not by too much.
Oh!
And just like that, first blood life number 1 is done. Renee goes back to the reset.
And it looks like that means Cobalt's figure of 84 is going to be the high water mark, and he continues to extend that. So with each successive step, he is going to put more and more pressure on lolRenaynay.
And you can just see the look on their face right now, too. These two are determined. They are in complete focus mode right now.
Oh, that was a close call for Renaynay.
What is this nonsense?
She's on her 2nd life. Cobalt at 142 and counting. Gonna let the camel caravan go by.
And when we see matches like this, you have to wonder what's going through the head of the competitors. Renee, possibly with her back to the wall earlier on, now with an opportunity to win everything, to win absolutely everything. Cobalt, who, for all intents and purposes, could have thought that he had everything in hand.
And it's sure looking like he is in the driver's seat as Renee is now on her 3rd and final life.
Indeed.
Cobalt yet to die, extending the high water mark. 217, 218, and counting. And 218 is going to be where it's at. A very beatable figure for Renee. She is definitely capable.
But she is down to her last life. She's going to have to play conservatively if she's going to want to do that. But if she plays too conservatively, she runs into so many different obstacles. There's the trains. There's the backboard that's coming up to chase her.
Right. But unlike games where there's a time limit, she has all the time in the world. She can pace herself, and she's up to 90 already.
Cobalt, though, with 2 remaining lives as well. He is going to be playing a little bit more cautiously as well. And oh, no.
Hang on. We've got a little bit of an issue, and it looks like Renee has worked through it. Well done.
With the grace of a champion.
And she's up to 135. She's got the sheep band rooting her on.
Ooh, and
this is the minefield in the market here.
Very saturated.
Oh, and that's it.
Is that it?
lolRenaynay's 145 isn't going to get the job done, and Cobalt Streak will advance to the finals.
Come here. That was a great game. That was just.
Two friends that was so much fun. Each other on a great match.
Where do I
And if
go?
the carpet takes you. Did you see that?
Where do I go?
Oh, it's
I
a
want free
carpet.
gift.
We finally found out if it's an eagle or a
What's my
carpet.
free gift?
Woo!
Cobalt, come on down. Renee, go over and check in with Maria.
Good games. That was intense. All right, Box, congrats, man. I'll be taking my 15. Let's go.
Have a seat. It's not over yet. If
Between my bros.
in fact, you know it's not over because you saw how Renaynay came back after being in a 2-zip deficit. We're going to go to some replays from across that match and let you kind of talk us through some of what we're looking at. Here's the Disney Crossy Road portion of the program.
Now, Cobalt, when you were going into this last match, were you feeling any tilt? Were you feeling any pressure with her coming back after going, you taking her 2-0, then her winning 2 in a row after you?
I expected maybe my momentum at the start would be enough to maybe throw her off her game. But the first 2 games, I was very confident that I could take. The next 2, I was very unconfident. Like, I knew that she was probably going to at least definitely take the Fruit Ninja. I have had very little experience with that.
And 8-ball was kind of more of a toss-up?
8-ball, I did a couple of games. I played actually a game with Box. It was down to the last of us. We're both shooting at the 8-ball. So I felt pretty confident. It's just angles and stuff like that. She just ran the table. She just was beasting it. Crossy Road, I went into the mindset, just take your time, pretend she's not even there. Pretend nobody's there, just focus. Just go for the openings, and then just try to make every life count every time. Just take
And
my
you
time.
definitely did just that. Now we've heard from you. Why don't we send it over to your pal, Renaynay, who's hanging out with Maria.
lolRenaynay, what a great show you put on for us. You took it to 5 games. You put up an amazing Fruit Ninja battle for all of us to watch. Epic, for the ages. I don't think a lot of people would have known that this is your first live tournament. You played incredibly well under pressure. You should be really proud of yourself.
I'm very proud of myself. I was fully expecting to be taken out the first round, so the fact that I got here, I'm really happy with myself.
Well, congratulations, I guess. You did well making it to the semifinals, and $7,500. It's a lot of money. Back to you, Ali.
Thanks, Maria. And if you think $7,500 is a lot of money, it's a guaranteed $15,000 for both this guy right here, Cobalt Streak, and Box. The finals when we continue from Paris, Las Vegas Hotel with the Amazon Champions of Fire Invitational. Stay close.
I'm the only clapper. Not awkward at all.
No. Okay.